Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Mattel Hot Wheels. This is the Action Comics #1 San Diego Comic-Con 2018 exclusive. A big thank you to the folks over at Mattel for providing this early sample copy that we're having a look at. If you're interested in picking up the Action Comics #1 Hot Wheels car, it's currently available at the Mattel booth at San Diego Comic-Con. If you manage to pick this up at San Diego Comic-Con, this is going to be what the packaging looks like. Now, this is the outer clamshell packaging box. You can remove it. It is very simply a case that these little circular tabs slot into these little notches at the top of the packaging. You can very easily open that right up. It also ensures that when you do want to store this back away, you can either store it in the box that we're going to be looking at here, or you can store it into the larger clear box here. But we're going to go ahead and remove the top flap here featuring the Action Comics #1, and then we can go ahead and slide this out in its entirety, and then we've got a similar box inside. Now the box here, in which it is storing the sedan and Superman, is a faithful recreation here of Action Comics #1, right down to the fact it has the #1 at the top corner, the number 10, and of course this gentleman down below who's not probably happy that Superman has taken his sedan, or he's fleeing from the scene. I'm not quite certain, again, the reasoning why he was there, but again, might have something to do with the fact that Superman's got his car. We can flip it around, and there is a read-up on the back of the box. It says, 80 years ago, the world was introduced to Superman by Action Comics #1, and its riveting cover illustration of this legendary superhero powerlifting a sedan over his head. As a result, it became the most valuable and sought-after comic in the world. Now, to celebrate the iconic moment, Hot Wheels debuts its die-cast version of this famous car in a 3D diorama featuring a new sculpt of the Man of Steel himself. I've already gone ahead and taken the liberty of cutting the tape just to make a lot simpler of an opening here for you guys. We're going to go ahead and just pull the flap out. There we go. And we can put the interior box, the inside box, of course, inside the clear case. You can put that right there. And then we've got Superman and the car in tow here. Now what's neat though is that if you remove it, it's actually consisting of two parts only because I've gone ahead. There was a little connector here that connected the bottom half of Superman to the top half of what's holding the sedan. We pull that out and you've got a really nice explosion effect right there. You've got the car on one side, you've got Superman on the other, which also has an overlay there, a three-dimensional layered effect here where they've got the cardboard and they've got a couple of civilians here. One gentleman right here, one running away. Superman is attached, and I've already gone ahead and removed the elastic bands. One was wrapped around his waist, one was wrapped around his arm, and that frees Superman from his plastic prison. While we're also at it, we can go ahead and take the sedan out. Simply just a case of popping it out from the clamshell backing. And there you have the sedan in check as well. So these are the two pieces that you're going to get when you get this particular set. So why don't we have a look at the Man of Steel first, and then we'll have a look at the vehicle that he's lifting above his shoulders. It is a really small yet quite detailed representation of Superman. Despite for its size, they've even gone in and painted his eyebrows and his eyes, and they've sculpted a nose and mouth, which is quite the feat on its own for, again, how small this is. Let's see if I do have my tape measure, just in case you were wondering how big this is. This is one of the smallest measurements we'll probably have done on this channel. The Superman here, counting from the feet to the bottom of his feet, the feet to the bottom of his hands, the figure is 1 3/4 or 1.5 inches in height. As for the emblem, the Superman emblem, though simple for its time, has been painted in there, and rather interestingly enough, and to the credit of Mattel, they've outlined it in black. Again, this is a very small figure. The cape is very long draping here, nicely sculpted. Smaller boots on this Superman. You'll also notice that he has no belt. He simply just has the smaller red trunks over top of his long johns, so to speak. But it's a really impressive looking sight. Then you get to the car itself, which I guess to the credit and the reasoning for picking up this packaging, sure, of course, you get yourself a Superman that can tow the sedan above his shoulders, but the real sell for this set is that you're getting the car here. Now, doing a little bit of research on this car, obviously it's a 37 model, there is debate whether this is either a Ford, a Plymouth, or a car model called a DeSoto. Now, I've looked online, and as best as I can decipher myself, I would say it's a Plymouth sedan, a 1937 Plymouth sedan. But again, debate has been made as to whether that model is accurate. It could very well be a DeSoto, or it could also be a Ford. Either way, it is a really nice recreation of the car featured on the front of Action Comics #1. The only thing it technically is missing is the damage on the front. Now, it's not 100% accurate omitting that, but I can understand why Hot Wheels would not want to have damaged the front of the car. Instead, they wanted to keep it in its pristine form, as, of course, this is something that collectors are going to want to have on display. You may not necessarily have wanted a damaged version of it, although it would have been interesting if they had released two versions of the sedan, one with the wrecked front, and then one without the wrecked grille. As for the car itself, it is quite stunningly detailed, very heavy in nature, of course. The majority, if not all of it, is metal. The tires do feel like they are rubber, or at the very least, a very soft plastic. I would have thought actually on the underside it would have told us the model, but I guess based on the fact that it's up in the air as to what model the car actually is, it would make sense why the model isn't listed on the underside. Very bright white tires. A stunning gold grille on the front there, and the headlights are painted in there on white as well. The chrome making its way up from the undercarriage also makes its way out to the step plates and the front and back of the bumpers there, in which you can also see there are some additional details added. Of course, you've got the silver painted in there as well. The rear lights, the rear tail lights have been painted in, and they've even gone in and painted the handles. A really nice touch. I can't see anything that they really have missed, right down to the fact that the interior of the car has been given a plastic inner body. These seats, as well as the steering wheel, hopefully you can make it out, is all done in black casted plastic. And then, of course, you've got the front windshield, the rear window, and of course the side door windows. Nothing, of course, will open on this. I say of course, but on the smaller Hot Wheels, a lot of the doors tend not to open unless you get more of the high collector grade ones that may have a hood opening or door opening. That's not the case here. It doesn't have any opening doors or a top hood that can open up. It does roll quite well. The only thing I would say is, while I do love the fact that Superman has the means to hold it above his head in packaging, sadly you can't do that. You can't recreate that outside of the packaging. He just doesn't have the necessary means. There's not really anything that he can hold on to per se. And then, of course, there's nothing really supporting his legs. I wish there had been a way, because while I do love the fact that in packaging you can mimic Superman holding, it's actually more so like that. You can mimic him holding that in the packaging. I kind of wish for someone who loves Hot Wheels like myself, I would have been able to display him actually like this, say on a shelf. To accommodate that, they probably would have had to include like little clear plastic struts or something underneath the car to kind of hold it on its own, and then simply you could just place Superman underneath. Maybe something like a V-shaped support. One that you could peg Superman in, and then the other one that you could peg the car into, so that you could actually have had Superman looking as if he's holding the car. That's about the only thing that I would have liked added to this, as again, I really do like the fact that Hot Wheels and Mattel specifically would have offered the option to for us collectors to be able to pick up a car like this. It's sort of It's a weird feeling, and I can't quite describe what it is. I mean, obviously, seeing Action Comics #1, I don't necessarily have the originals, but I do have reproductions. To see that iconic image of Superman holding the car in his hand like this, and now physically being able to hold the car in my hand, is actually pretty cool indeed. Again, the price point for this, you're looking at about $20. I think it's $20. That will be, of course, for the set that has the Superman and the sedan in tow. And then there's also going to be a Thanos release, which I believe comes with his helicopter. That's also one of the other San Diego Comic-Con 2014 to 2018 exclusives. In final looks, I put both the sedan and Superman back in the packaging just to show you that it is easy to remove them and easy to put them back for display purposes. Obviously, most people, myself included, will display this set like this because unfortunately this is the only way that you can get that iconic look of Superman holding the sedan over his head is by keeping them in the packaging like this, which is, again, a bit of a shame. I wish they had figured out a way that they could have put like a support base or something underneath Superman and the car so that you could have actually displayed them outside of the packaging just the same way as they're being displayed currently inside the packaging. Despite that, though, I really like the fact that both Mattel and, of course, Superman came together and gave us the iconic look of the Action Comics #1 first appearance of Superman in a die-cast form. Like I said, if you guys are interested in picking this one up for yourself, it's currently available at San Diego Comic-Con 2018, and I believe the price point for this is going to be at around $20, which I think is a little bit more, but keeping in mind for what you're getting and for the fact that it's an exclusive, a lot of San Diego Comic-Con exclusives are, again, a little bit more expensive. I do think it's well worth adding this one to your collection. Today, though, we were having a look at the SDCC 2018. This was the Hot Wheels Action Comics #1. If you guys haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, make sure you do so. We're going to have a look at some more SDCC 2018 exclusives in the next couple of videos, so stay tuned for that. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.